Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for Loki, Season 1, Episode 2, The Variant. Welcome, everybody. Before I get started, let me take care of some business first, and then we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video at the very end. Basically, it pops up right here. So YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up there just for you. Also, if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule up there. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media, so Instagram, Patreon. I also have the links to this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right. So that was an interesting episode, huh? Let's get to. Ooh, I'm dropping stuff all over the place. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. Yes, no, maybe so. You guys get that now? All right. Oh man. So yes, they are building towards the multiverse, of course. Of course. And the whole thing with, using Loki in order to hunt down the variant, I am still not convinced as of yet that this is another version of Loki. I know that that's what they're trying to lead us to believe. So there's a couple things about this episode that are going on right now. We get a whole diatribe about faith in what you're believing in, like, so the whole thing about the timekeepers and the timekeepers creating the TVA, creating Mobius, creating all the people that work at the TVA and all this kind of stuff. And I have a feeling that Ravonna Renslayer is holding stuff back from everybody at this point, and because she is the stopgap, she is where all this information is coming in, supposedly from the timekeepers, right? I don't think this is the case. We've never seen the timekeepers. No one else has. Supposedly, Ravonna is the only one that actually has talked to them or talks to them. And yeah, exactly, Applecrow. We need to know who told them the variant was Loki. Exactly that. And exactly, Morks, it feels like she knows more than she's letting on, especially when the variant, as the woman is called in the credits, she's not called Loki, she's not called Lady Loki or anything like that. She even takes offense to being called Loki at one point. Yeah, she doesn't even say her name. Basically, the enchantment that she's wearing, the enchantment, by the way, I'll say that again, is she's basically talking through another person's body. She's hopping between people's bodies, or using them remotely, if you will. And yeah, she it's the Enchantress is what I'm going to say here. Yes, it's the Enchantress. Now, why is this the Enchantress? Well, if you take a look at the credits for the Castilian Spanish dub, this is how deep we're going here. They don't list her as the variant. They call Sophia DiMartino Sylvie, quote unquote Sylvie. And Sylvie, or Sylvie, now if I can read my own notes here, Sylvie Lashton in the comics is the second version of Enchantress in the comics. There was two versions of Enchantress in the comics. One was an Asgardian, Amora, and then the second one was Sylvie Lashton, who ended up getting powers by Loki of all people. So, and she also likes to wear green as well and use a lot of magic and everything like that. So it's plausible that that is the case. And we don't know what she even says to Loki at one point. She goes, "This isn't about you." And it's not about Loki. It's not even about her. And it's really about the multiverse coming back. And I want to say it's more about Kang. It's the creation of Kang is where we're going here. Mork says, "What's the deal with Jessica Hyde?" Yeah, Hunter C20 is her name. Sasha Lane, of course, played her. It remains to be seen. I know we get to see her again in episode 6, so we're not done with her as of yet, but there's something there as well. So hang on to that, Morks. Apple Crow says, "I don't know much about Kang, but do they take trophies? I felt like Mobius bringing up the trophies was important." Yeah, that was the other thing too. Well, I don't think it was so much the trophies. I think she was holding on to some trinkets here and there. Um, but whatever it was that she grabbed, that staff, that scepter, or whatever, when all the multiple, the multiverses started branching off from the sacred timeline, I want to know what that was. I kept looking at it. I couldn't tell what it was. I couldn't tell if there was a comic alternate to it or not. I was really looking for it and I couldn't find it. It's not the ultimate nullifier, um, but it's something that's there. It wasn't a saber. It looked like a scepter is what it looked like, but something that could shoot lasers or something. Freaking lasers. I paused it and I had a really good view of it on my big screen, and it was very nice and clear. And it's a saber, or not a saber. It's a scepter, is what it looks like. So we had to find out what the hell that is as well. Um, and then who, of course, the Enchantress is working for, because obviously she's not working for herself at this point. And I'm gonna say it's Kang. And again, I say Ravonna is behind this. She is actually taking orders from Kang in order to restart the multiverse. Yeah. And basically he's taken over. So in the comics, the timekeepers, there's 3 of them, of course, um, discover that there's a 4th, Immortus. And Immortus is actually Kang. And they task Immortus with actually fixing the timeline because Immortus has fucked up the timeline. And that was what they did. They basically kind of enslaved him to fix all his shit that he did wrong in the timelines. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't like that. So, yeah. And by the way, there's also a Council of Kangs. So this came out way before Rick and Morty, before the Council of Ricks and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, Wand of Magic Missiles might be. Who knows? But yeah, there's a couple different things there because the whole talk between Mobius and Loki about faith and taking things sight unseen, and Loki keep pushing to talk to the timekeepers, pushing to talk to the timekeepers, was interesting. And then also Loki finding out that at apocalyptic points, variances do not register. So they will not register any kind of variances. And that's where the variant was actually hiding, was in one of these apocalypses, which happened to be in 2050, which happened to be in the same spot that she took out the Minutemen in the 1850s. So there's a 200-year gap right there. And that also might be significant. We don't know. Yeah. Mork says what she grabs looks like the energy batons, but wooden, maybe like the Firestone, the first stone made of, I don't know. We'll find out, definitely. So yeah, it's a very interesting episode, and I like that we got more missed minutes, and the whole thing with Loki going, "What are you? Are you a recording or are you alive?" A little bit of both, which was fucking disturbing. It really was. It really was. And Loki, of course, trying to bash it, calling him a jerk. She goes and hides back in that fucking God, that was actually a lot of fun right there. Apple Crow's, I'm still reserving judgment. I didn't like this episode as much as the first. Yeah, the first one was a lot of slam bang kind of stuff. This one was more building up to the variant, telling us or showing us the variant so that way people could go, oh, it's Lady Loki, and it's not Lady Loki. I'm sorry. Um, so the whole thing about Lady Loki is actually Loki himself, hit itself, whatever. He's a shapeshifter. So he decides at one point that he's going to turn himself or shapeshift into a woman. He does, and he stays that way for years in the comics. So it's supposed to be that Loki is gender fluid and that much. So that's where a lot of so some people were getting upset that they're separated out Lady Loki from Loki. Well, it's not Lady Loki, just so you don't need to get upset. It's Enchantress. Loki is still Loki, and we'll see Lady Loki at some point down the line there. Apple Crow says, also, I think it's a testament to Tom's acting that the other people trying to act like him really miss the mark. Yeah. Carl M says trophies. That was a theory of, I think it was Morks there, or was that Apple Crow? Apple Crow. Yes. I don't see them as trophies. No. I see them as just trinkets of adventure that she's going on, or she had gone on with Kang, or because he goes through different reality, or not different realities, different time periods, and he conquers them. And basically, he exists within the timeline, is what it is, at all points in the timeline. So the Council of Kangs are all different time periods of Kang, is what they are, in different stages. As confusing as that may sound, it's a very interesting concept in the comics. The guys at Marvel used to do a lot of acid and LSD and shit like that. So I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff they come up with there. Apple Crow says one me did a good Loki smile, but the others felt like theater kids in comparison. Again, they're not Loki. That's the reason why they didn't do a good Loki impression. Apple Crow. It was more of it's Enchantress. Everyone keeps saying Loki, and it's not Loki. She even says when he calls her, so, oh, what are you? Me? And she goes, no, I'm a better version of you. And then he goes, what should I call you, Loki? And she goes, no. And that is where right there, that is not Loki, because Loki would own that and go, sure, why not? And would kind of pontificate on it, if you will, and start saying, call me Loki the Magnificent or something like that. But she just flat out said, no, you don't call me that. Carl M says, can't people just chill and travel through time as tourists instead of conquering all the time? Not really. Not with Kang. Kang wants to own the multiverse and every aspect there within. The Alpha and the Omega. So yeah, a good episode. I liked it. We are getting into weird shit with time travel and multiverses. And again, this is going to be a primer to those of you out there that might not be familiar with multiverses, time travel, alternate realities, all that kind of stuff. Bringing this into the MCU in a light way to kind of indoctrinate you, not indoctrinate you, that's a wrong word, to present to you all these theories and bring it to you so that when you go and watch Doctor Strange 2 in the multiverse of madness, that is you'll understand what the hell's going on. Yeah. So yeah, and I want to know more. I mean, I did like the whole thing about the kablooey gum, the being a specific gum from like 2049 to 2051. It was very specific. It was only within a 3-year period. And I'm like, wow, that must have been some really shitty gum if it was only 3 years that it was produced. So, hey, Cheryl Lira, you just watched it? Yeah. Apple Crow says, do the Eternals have anything to do with this, or will this all be Doctor Strange? That's a good question. Thank you, Cheryl. You didn't need to do that. Thank you very much. The Eternals, I don't. Well, they could have something to do with it. They really could. So, actually, going back to episode 1 and the Infinity Stones that Loki, and I might have mentioned this. I forget if I did or not. The reason why those Infinity Stones didn't work while they're paperweights is because they weren't created in that reality where the TVA was. They only work in the reality in which they're created. So, yeah. Kablooey had MSG. That's why they discontinued it. Doesn't everything have MSG in it? MSG makes it taste better. That's what I've heard. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. I mean, now that Loki has, and he hasn't really slipped his bonds, and I don't think Mobius realizes this. Mobius still doesn't trust him, of course, and Loki has gone along with the variant in order to find out what is going on. And yes, he is playing the long game. Yes, he still wants to take control of the TVA and the timeline, the sacred timeline. But I don't know. He's more interested in what's going in the mystery of it all, is what it is. He's more interested in the mystery of it all. And I'm liking this version of Loki. And it's a different version altogether now. We are still setting up, though, by the way, Young Avengers. So in Young Avengers, there is a Lady Loki, or it's a child version of Loki. I take that back. It's a child version of Loki in the Young Avengers. So we already have seen, like I said, Patriot, which is Eli Bradley's grandson. That was in Falcon and Winter Soldier. We've seen the twins from Wanda, so they are actually in the Young Avengers as well. We're going to get Kate Bishop in Hawkeye. We've seen Cassie Lang, a grown-up Cassie Lang. We're going to see more of her in Ant-Man and the Wasp, or the Wasp and Ant-Man, however they're doing it. Quantum Mania is what they're calling it. So we're going to see more of a grown-up Cassie Lang, and she becomes Stature is her superhero name, which is always kind of a weird name. And then there's Hulkling. Hulkling is a shapeshifter who is a Skrull, which we're most likely going to see in Secret Wars or Secret Invasion. Excuse me, Secret Invasion. So all of this is coming together to create Young Avengers as well. So we're going to have the Young Avengers in here. We're going to have the old Avengers. We're even going to have probably the middle-aged Avengers as well at some point in time. Yeah. I like the gum from Mission Impossible. What was that? Kablooey is probably made by Venture Industries out of expired explosives. Possibly. Yeah, well, the old Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with the Mike TV eating the exploding gum that blows them back. Exploding gum for your friends and enemies. All right. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. Again, this is Marvel stuff, and it's good. It's better than most of the stuff that's on TV right now. And I'm still digging that they're dropping it once a week and not doing it all at once. If it was all at once, can you imagine people's head exploding trying to figure out the multiverse and what's going on here? Yeah, it'd be like trying to you'd have to draw a diagram and all that kind of stuff and on your head while you're naked. It just doesn't work. This episode, no, there are only 6 episodes, Morks. 6 episodes. We have 4 more left. Just 4. That's it. It's basically a trilogy, is what this is. It is think of this as the end of the first movie. You had 2 hours, and we're at the end of the first movie. Now we're getting ready to start the second movie. And that is pretty much how Marvel has been filming these as 6-hour movies. Uh, what would you give it? Out of 1 out of 10? Um, if I was gonna do 1 out of 10, I'd give it a pie. No, it is I would say this is easily probably a 7.5. 7.5 for me. I liked the Mount Vesuvius thing. I liked, that scene with Loki, going to Pompeii and basically telling everybody in Latin that they're gonna die and that they're from the future, and he's basically testing out his theory, and Mobius is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then he goes, "Check it. Are there any variants, things going off?" And he checks, he goes, "There's nothing at all." Exactly, my theory is proven at this point. So, yeah. Carl says, "You like being spoon-fed episodes and being manipulated?" Why, yes, I do like my overlord, companions. I don't consider it being spoon-fed, quite honestly. I consider that being able to savor an episode. It's not like you go to a steakhouse and order the most expensive steak on the menu and then go, "Oh my god, that was great." No, you savor the meal. So it's the same thing with this, is you're savoring what is being put on screen there. So, yeah. Apple Crow says it looked like as soon as he said he was from the future, people started ignoring. Yeah, well, that was the whole thing. Everyone's like, yeah, 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 whatever. They think he's crazy, and they started walking away from him. There is no spoon. There never is a spoon. Carl says, "I hate it when you make sense." Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I yeah, shit happens. But I like to savor this stuff. Again, I go back to Sweet Tooth. Sweet Tooth, which actually premiered 5 days before the first Loki episode, and they dropped the entire season. Is anyone talking about Sweet Tooth right now? No, I haven't heard anyone talking about Sweet Tooth at all. I talked about Sweet Tooth. I talk about it all the time because it's a really good series that no one's talking about because everyone binged it and then forgot about it. Again, it's what happens when you drop stuff all at once and you don't allow it to breathe. Yeah. And you really need to do that with some things. Manifest, on the other hand, it's a reason why Manifest got canceled because it sucked and it didn't need a weekly version. It needed to be dropped all at once so that people could just dispose of it and walk away from it. Apple Crow says, "I'm just glad we have a show we understand, unlike Watchmen HBO." You mean you didn't get that, Apple Crow? You just didn't get it. That's all. Uh, man. Yeah, and it really is. I mean, it's that whole thing between, you know, weekly or drop the entire season, weekly or drop the entire season. And you're not going to be able to pay the bills by just dropping the entire. Well, Netflix can. I mean, Netflix, because they are dealing in volume, but they've been around for so long, they've got that money built up. Um, they're putting out something like, literally, they're putting over 1,000 shows this year, shows and movies, original shows and movies. That's what they're putting out this year, over 1,000 during a pandemic. Okay, if that tells you anything. And so they're allowed, or they're able to, I should say, drop a season all at once, drop all those episodes all at once, and not worry about it. If it doesn't do good, you axe it, kind of like Jupiter's Legacy, you know? That's what ends up happening. If it's a movie that they want to promote, then they might go a little extra mile and throw it out in the theater there, and then put it on Netflix, just so it gets Oscar contention. But yeah, I don't know. Mark says 1,000 shows, 936 of them are cooking shows, 6 are decent, the rest are crap. Yeah, pretty much. There is something I have been watching on Amazon. I know, I haven't touched on Amazon too. Amazon actually started, toying with the whole, releasing weekly thing. They did that with The Boys, which is a great thing. So I covered, and I know, I think it was Morks that didn't like this. I did a movie on Is It Worth My Time called Big Man Japan. And the guy who created that, and he's a Japanese comedian. He's actually a very famous Japanese comedian in Japan. He's big in Japan. He created this TV show called Documental, and it's into its 4th season on Amazon. And it's fucking crazy. It's a game show of he takes 10 Japanese comedians. He each has them bring in 1 million yen, which is about $10,000, somewhere around there, and puts them in a room for 6 hours. And they get 3 chances where they can't laugh at anybody else's jokes, and you can do anything you want. And it's fucking brutal and funny at the same time. Why the United States hasn't done something like this, I don't know. And you walk away with 10 million yen or $100,000 at the end of this, whoever wins. So I've been watching that, and it's all in Japanese with English subtitles. So I went down that rabbit hole. But that's neither here nor there, but I just wanted to share. Just so you get an idea of what the fuck goes through my mind sometimes. Mark says, dude, Big Man Japan, no. What's it called? It's called Documental. So it's supposed to be like a documentary because it's a lot of experimentation, as he says, but it's also a mental challenge as well. So it's Documental. Kind of like Comedy Poker in a way, Carl, I guess you could say. But literally you can do any fucking thing. And I mean, some of the guys go nude in this thing. And there's violence. I mean, there's all kinds of shit that goes on in this show. I'm midway through the 2nd season right now, and it's just fucking brutal. It really is. There's some weird shit. That's all I can say. Apple Crow says, because Americans thought The Big Bang Theory was the best comedy for almost a decade. That's why we can't have comedy TV. No, I want to say because Seinfeld. Oh, did I just say something controversial? Maybe. I never liked Seinfeld. I'm sorry. I knew what it was from the beginning, that it was a show about nothing, and I knew everyone was into it, and I was like, it's not funny, really. It's a show about nothing, and sorry, man. I know. There's more stuff that it's another strike against me. Whatever. But there you go. People are going, how did I get my money back now? Yeah, Friends was okay the first like 2 seasons or something like that, and then it just kind of went into this big thing, and you're like, okay, it's not that good. It's not great either. I'm trying to think of actually a really good comedy that really made me laugh every single time that was on TV. I know actually what made me laugh. Well, there's 2 things. There was Better Off Ted, which I believe is still on Netflix, and Happy Endings. Those 2 actually made me laugh. There was one great joke in Happy Endings where Elisa, no, I can't remember her name now. The one who was in, oh my God, I'm blanking on it. She was in the time travel one. She played Tiger. She's also in Happy Endings, and she was married to Damon Wayans Jr.'s character, and they were talking about porn on the internet, and they're like, yeah, sometimes I misspell things. She goes, yeah, sometimes when I'm looking up things, I misspell black Crocs. and I just fucking lost it. I mean, it's a great joke. So, Future Man, thank you, Joe Greer. Future Man, yes. Jabberwocky is my favorite episode, Morks, in Better Off Ted. So Jabberwocky is the they make up this presentation, a presentation for the entire company for a fictional widget, if you will, and they use nothing but adjectives and lights and all this stuff, and it's like one of the best presentations about nothing that I swore if I ever needed to do something like that, I'm just going to steal that entire presentation and just bring that out. It's the whole thing. If you can't dazzle them with brilliance, you baffle them with bullshit. And it's beautiful. Beautifully done. Apple Chris, I had a lot of trouble finding a power supply for my for your white theme PC. What the hell is that? Oh, okay. That was one of the jokes. Oh man. Carl M says if you say Joker fast, it sounds like Joker. You a super villain. Oh, okay. Now we're going into weird territory. Well, that's probably a good time for me to say, what the hell am I doing the rest of this week? So, yes, I know I didn't have Is It Worth My Time this week? That's because work's been fucking crazy this week. Normally I have a day where I can work from home, and I'm not getting one this week. So, yeah, it's going to be lots of fun. So, what else do I have going on this week? Tomorrow I'm off. Friday is a new episode of The Bad Batch, Star Wars The Bad Batch. Saturday is another episode of Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the weekend, any genre stuff you guys want to talk about, and we talk about it. And Sunday and Monday I'll be off. And then hopefully I'll be back again on Tuesday with a new episode of Is It Worth My Time? Don't know for sure, but yeah, I'll think about it. Excuse me. And then, of course, we roll back around to Wednesdays with Loki. We're at the halfway mark with Loki on that one. No, God, no, Apple Crow. I'm not doing Paycheck. Paycheck's a horrible movie. There you go. That's already. Is it worth my time? Paycheck. No, it's not worth your time. It's Ben Affleck. And it's a drunk Ben Affleck, if I remember correctly. I think he was having his alcohol problems at that point in time. So yeah, it's really bad, Ben Affleck. Oh, although is there a really good Ben Affleck? Argo. Okay, there we go. Argo. Apple Crow says I haven't seen it because Paycheck was my favorite Philip K. Dick short story, and I knew the movie would ruin it. You don't want to watch it. Don't watch it, Apple Crow. It's horribly bad. I've made the mistake of watching it. So I'm going to go off on another tangent here. There is an older movie site that I frequent. Goes by the name of Joe Blow. And they have this running segment called Best Movie You Never Saw. And I think it's run by a millennial because they keep putting shit out there like Roadhouse, best movie you've never seen, or I'm trying to think what else. The Running Man, best movie you've never seen. And they're just taking movies from the 80s and saying the best movie you've never seen. And it's fucking funny. The comment sections all the time are like, yeah, maybe if you were 12, or maybe if you were only born, in the last 20 years, sure, you've never seen it. So, and the latest one was The Wraith. And if you're as old as dirt as I am, and you had HBO as a kid growing up and all that stuff, you would know that The Wraith with Charlie Sheen, a very young Charlie Sheen, by the way, that was on fucking HBO for like 10 or 15 years straight, every fucking day. It was. So everyone saw it from like the late 80s till I think 2000, if you had HBO. Anyway, that's where I'm leaving off on that one. All right, everybody. I'm going to let you guys go for the night. Thank you to everybody who joined me tonight in the chat, and thank you if you made it through this rambly little video. And if you're still on the fence and want to know more about subscribing, would you like to know more? Check out the video that pops up here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been trying to watch, all those nasty porn things, when you type in black Crocs when you know what you're looking for, and they pop it up here and they try and match it as best as possible to one of the videos of my vast video library. That was just a bad segue on all that. And they pop it up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, hit that subscribe button down below. And if you can as well, hit that like button, the share button as well. Also, if you can, well, if you want to, it's up to you. If you want to know when I'm be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule up there. I change it out every week. Also, all the links to my social media are on there, and all the links to my pages are on there as well. Maybe J.K. Simmons will get a counterpart crossover as a variant. That would be nice. I do know, though, what I want to wear. And the thing is, this episode or this series has made everyone's Halloween costumes for 2001 or 2001. Maybe if I'm going back in time, 2021, a lot easier. All you need to do is have a jacket on that says variant on the back, and you're a variant of yourself. There you go. I know what I'm going as for Halloween. And better have that candy bar, the big fucking candy bars when I come to your door, not the little small bullshit fun size ones, which are not fun. You want to have the full size ones. That's right. All right, everybody. On that note, I'm going to let you go. Sorry, I was just thinking about, old dude dressed up in a Halloween costume going door to door for trick or treating. Just didn't sound right. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Friday. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you just may be loopy as fuck after a really rough week at work. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Friday. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, wear those masks, get those vaccine shots. I don't care what the fuck the CDC says. And I will see you guys again on Friday. Have a good night. Take care. See ya.